Good to be here. Good to see some familiar faces. First of all, I just want to start by saying anytime you're asked to return to a place that you helped build top, do not scroll. You've seen the box score from the Dallas Wings game, you've seen the low lights, the turnovers, the frustrated look on Caitlin Clark's face. You think you know the story. A tough loss for a struggling rookie team, that's what they want you to think. But that's not the real story. The game wasn't the main event. It was the catalyst. The real explosion happened after the final buzzer in a quiet radio studio when the one person who was supposed to be Clark's staunchest defender picked up a microphone and lit a fuse that could burn down the entire Indiana Fever franchise. Stick with me because we are about to break down the moment the Fever's own president, the legendary Lynn Dunn, publicly called out Caitlin Clark's performance. And you need to understand why this wasn't just a comment. It was a declaration, a power play that changes everything. And once you understand the layers, the strategy, and the potential betrayal, you will never watch this team the same way again. Let's go back. Rewind the tape. The Fever are on the road facing a hungry Dallas Wings team. The energy is electric, but it's not for Indiana. Every single possession is a battle. Every time Clark touches the ball, it's a swarm. You see two, sometimes three jerseys converging on her the second she crosses half court. This isn't just defense. It's a statement from the rest of the league. A physical, brutal welcome to the pros. Watch this play right here. Early in the first quarter, Clark brings the ball up. She's not even at the three-point line and Enrique Onbail is already in her jersey pressing, bumping, testing the limits of what the officials will allow. A screen comes from Aaliyah Boston, but Natasha Howard hedges hard, a full body block, forcing Clark to retreat towards the timeline. She's already expended more energy in 8 seconds than she did on most possessions at Iowa. This is the strategy, the league-wide memo, make her work for every single inch. Now fast forward to the third quarter. Watch this play again, but zoom in. Clark gets the screen, but Ombanoy fights over it, stays attached to her hip like glue. Howard shows hard again, forcing Clark to pick up her dribble in no man's land. 30 FT from the basket. The shot clock is winding down. She's being hounded, suffocated, and you can see the split-second decisions getting harder and harder to make. She tries a desperate cross-court pass to Kelsey Mitchell. The pass is a fraction of a second late, a few inches too high. Turnover. Dallas goes the other way for an easy 2. Now look at Clark's reaction. A quick glance at her hands, a frustrated sigh, a shoulder slump as she jogs back on defense. This isn't just one play. This was the entire game in a microcosm. She finished with 22 points, which looks good on paper, but the 6 turnovers, the forced shots, the visible exhaustion, that tells the real story. The Fever lose the game. It's another notch in the loss column during a brutal opening stretch. For most teams, this is where the story ends. You go to the locker room, you watch the film tomorrow, you move on, but not for this team, not with this player. Because the pressure on Caitlin Clark isn't just on the court, it's everywhere. And the biggest source of that pressure was about to come from inside her own house. The next day, Fever president of basketball operations Lynn Dunn goes on a local radio show. This isn't some primetime ESPN spot. It's a comfortable, friendly environment. She's a legend, a Hall of Fame coach. She's seen it all. She's supposed to be the architect, the steady hand guiding this young team through the storm. And the host asks her about the game, about the physicality Clark is facing. What was supposed to happen? A boilerplate response. She's a rookie. She's learning. The physicality is an adjustment for everyone who comes into this league. We believe in her completely and we're putting her in positions to succeed. That's the corporate playbook. Protect your number one asset, protect your franchise player, deflect, defend, and support publicly. But that is not what happened. Instead, Dunn started by acknowledging the obvious. She spoke about Clark being. She validated the idea that the defense on her was extreme. And then she dropped the hammer. She said, and this is the key phrase, that Caitlin needed to build up her stamina. Let that sink in. Stamina. Not her shot selection, not her passing decisions, not her basketball IQ, her physical conditioning. The one thing that is entirely about effort, preparation, and endurance. This wasn't a critique hidden in coach speak. This was a direct public assessment of her biggest perceived weakness at the professional level. Dunn essentially confirmed the narrative that opponents were pushing, that you can wear Caitlin Clark down. You can break her with physicality because she doesn't have the engine to handle it for 40 minutes against world-class athletes. This is the moment everything changes. A team president doesn't say that by accident. This was a calculated statement. This was a message. The question is, who was it calculated for? Zoom out. You have to understand the context here. You cannot analyze this comment in a vacuum. The Indiana Fever didn't just draft a basketball player. They drafted a cultural phenomenon. They drafted ticket sales that have skyrocketed not just at home, but for every road team they play. They drafted charter flights for the entire league. They drafted TV ratings and a level of media scrutiny the WNBA has never ever seen. Every single thing this organization does is under a microscope. And in the middle of it all is a two-year-old rookie trying to find her footing against the best players in the world who all seem to have a personal vendetta against her. Tired of hearing about the newcomer who was anointed queen before playing a single professional game. In that environment, the front office is supposed to be a fortress, a shield. Their job is to absorb the public pressure so the players can just play. But with that one word, stamina, Linden didn't just fail to shield her star player. She took the criticism that was coming from the outside, validated it, and amplified it through the team's own megaphone. The message was clear. The problem isn't just the opponents. The problem isn't just the refs. The problem is also our own star players. Conditioning. This is where you have to ask yourself, was this a massive, unforced error? A moment of careless candor from a veteran who should have known better? Or was it a brilliant, high-risk maneuver from an old-school operator playing a completely different game than everyone else? There are two ways to look at this, and you have to decide which one you believe. Perspective 1. This was a colossal mistake. An act of self-sabotage that borders on managerial malpractice. You never ever publicly call out the conditioning of your franchise player, especially not a rookie who is carrying the weight of the entire league on her shoulders. Why? Because it signals division. It tells every other team in the league, our strategy is working. Keep being physical. Keep hounding her. Even her own boss agrees she can't handle it. It's like a general telling the enemy exactly where his best soldier's armor is the weakest. It gives fuel to every talking head, every Twitter troll, every critic who wants to see her fail. It puts Clark on an island. Now when she looks gassed in the fourth quarter, it's not just an observation. It's a confirmation of her own president's criticism. It creates a narrative that she has to fight against, not just on the court, but in every single press conference, in every interview. It's a wound inflicted by friendly fire, and those are often the hardest to recover from. More than that, it undermines her head coach, Christy Sides. The coach is the one who manages minutes, who designs the offensive system by going over her head. The president of basketball operations is subtly shifting blame. It creates a crack in the chain of command. From this angle, Lynn Dunn broke the #1 rule of sports management. Protect your stars at all costs. She chose public commentary over private conversation. And in doing so, she made her biggest asset, the cornerstone of her franchise's future, profoundly vulnerable. But then there's the other side, the darker, more cynical and perhaps more brilliant perspective. What if this wasn't a mistake at all? What if this was 4D chess? Stick with me. Linden is an old-school basketball mind. She's a Hall of Famer from the Pat Summitt School of Thought. She comes from an era where you didn't coddle your stars, you challenged them, you forged them in fire. Perhaps this wasn't a criticism meant to hurt Clark, but a public challenge meant to ignite her. It's a high-stakes way of saying, the world is watching, I see what they see. I'm not going to lie for you. Now go out there and prove us all wrong. It's a psychological play. By voicing the criticism herself, she takes control of the narrative. She's no longer just reacting to what others are saying. She's setting the terms of the debate. And who was the message really for? Was it just for Caitlin, or was it for the other 11 players on the Indiana Fever roster? Think about it. When one player gets all the attention, all the endorsements, all the headlines, resentment can build. Aaliyah Boston was The unanimous Rookie of the Year, a #1 overall pick, and suddenly she's the second option. Kelsey Mitchell is a veteran scorer who is now playing a different role. By publicly pointing out that even the savior has flaws and needs to work harder, Dunn could be sending a subtle message to the rest of the team. She's not untouchable. She has to be accountable just like the rest of you. We are a team, not just the Caitlin Clark show. It's a dangerous game, but it could be a way to re-enter the teams. Focus and remind everyone that winning requires more than just one superstar. It's a power move to assert that the culture of the team is set by the front office, not by the fame of its newest player. And there's a third possibility, one that's even more strategic and Machiavellian. Maybe the target of the message wasn't in the Fever locker room at all. Maybe the message was for the league office, for the referees. By carefully packaging her comments by first using words like hounded and pointing out the extreme physicality before mentioning stamina, Dunn is building a case. The unspoken part of her argument is yes, her stamina needs to improve, but it's being tested unfairly because the officials are allowing her to get beat up every single night. It's a public appeal for more whistles, a way to pressure the league into protecting its biggest star and its biggest investment. She's essentially saying, we're trying to fix her endurance, but you need to fix the officiating that's draining her in the first place. In this light, the comment about stamina isn't the main point. It's the Trojan horse. It's the spoonful of sugar that makes the medicine of the refs are letting her get mugged go down. She gives the appearance of holding her own player accountable, which lends her credibility when she complains about the league. She can't just scream about the refs that gets you fined, but she can package that complaint inside a critique of her own player. It's a masterful manipulation of the media cycle, turning a moment of weakness into a point of leverage. So what was it? A rookie management mistake, an old-school motivational tactic, or a calculated message to the league? The truth is, it could be all three at once. A complex move from a veteran who knows exactly how to play the game both on and off the court. This is the moment of escalation. After Dunn's comments, everything changed. The narrative was set in stone. Every single game became a referendum on Clark's stamina. Watch the broadcast from the very next game. The commentators aren't just talking about her shooting, they are talking about her conditioning. Let's see how her conditioning holds up in the fourth. Lynn Dunn mentioned her stamina this week, and you can see she's getting a lot of pressure. The seed of doubt was planted by her own front office, and now everyone is watching it grow. Look at Clark here. This is late in the fourth quarter of the next game. She drives, gets hit, no call. The ball goes out of bounds. She puts her hands on her knees for 2 seconds to catch her breath. Is she tired, or is she just frustrated by the lack of a foul call before Dunn's comments? We'd assume frustration. Now the narrative is already written for us. Her stamina is failing her. It reframes every action, every bit of body language. And this is the true impact. It created a self-fulfilling prophecy, a lens through which everyone would now view her performance. The pressure amplified tenfold. Every time she was subbed out, the questions would start. Every missed shot late in the game would be attributed to fatigue. Lynn Dunn didn't just make a comment. She handed a weapon to every single one of her team's opponents and every single one of Clark's critics. The battle was no longer just about winning games. It was about fighting a narrative that came from inside her own organization. So where does this leave them? This is the critical juncture for the Indiana Fever. This moment will either be the crack in the foundation that eventually crumbles the whole structure, or it will be the trial by fire that forges a champion's mentality. If the relationship between the front office and its star player is fractured, if there is a lack of trust, this experiment is doomed. Talented teams fall apart because of internal politics all the time. The pressure of being Caitlin Clark's team is immense, and if the leadership isn't perfectly aligned with its star, that pressure will crush them. You will see it in the body language, in the hesitant plays, in the off-court interviews. The entire future of this franchise, a future that looked so bright on draft night, now hinges on how they navigated the fallout from that one radio interview. On the other hand, if Clark responded to this as a challenge, if she and Dunn had a conversation behind closed doors and came to an understanding, this could be a turning point. It could be the moment. Clark realized that the WNBA was a different beast and that superstardom from college meant nothing. It could be the wake-up call that unlocked a new level of preparation, a new level of physical and mental fortitude. Great athletes are defined by how they respond to adversity, and sometimes that adversity has to come from the people who are supposed to be on your side. The stakes could not be higher. This is about more than just one season. It's about whether the biggest star to ever enter the league will have the internal support system to actually succeed, or if she'll be another cautionary tale of a transcendent talent undermined by her own organization. Now I turn it over to you. We've broken down the tape. We've analyzed the comment from every angle. We've explored the motives, the consequences, and the high-stakes game being played behind the scenes. Was this a catastrophic failure of leadership from Lynn Dunn, throwing her rookie superstar under the bus at the worst possible moment? Or was it calculated, high-risk, high-reward move by a veteran basketball mind trying to build a champion the hard way? Is she a clueless executive out of touch with the modern athlete, or a master manipulator playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers? There is no easy answer here. It's a move that will be debated for years, and its true success or failure will only be seen in the championship banners that do or do not eventually hang in Indiana. Let me know exactly what you think down in the comments. Was this betrayal or was this strategy? Put yourself in that front office chair. Would you have made that comment? Don't forget to subscribe, because the story of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever is just getting started, and we'll be here to break down every single critical moment.